Hello friends. Today we are celebrating 75th years of India's independence or Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So on this important occasion, I convey my greetings to all my fellow Indians and people who love India. And I also pay tributes to all the freedom fighters and the soldiers who have sacrificed their life to protect the nation, and also the soldiers who are protecting us every day. So today we are going to discuss how India has marched ahead in the last 75 years, particularly when Pandit Nehru was addressing the nation, the Tryst with Destiny. And in his speech, he had told that we will not rest till we alleviate the poverty and we wipe out the tears from every Indians. So we need to do an analysis. How has India marched in last 75 years, or how has our Indian economy changed in last 75 years? We'll not be discussing much about the political part or other part. We'll be focusing on only key important indicators and how India has changed. So if you see the India's population, then in 1951 we had only 36.1 crore people in our country, and now by 2022 we have reached almost 140.7 crore, or you can say 141 crore. So there is a huge rise in the India's population, and then, if you look at India's position, particularly in population with the other countries of the world, then we find that now our world population has increased from 3 billion in 1960 to 7.8 billion in 2021. And then in that, India's share was only, say, 0.5 billion in the year 1960. That means total world population was 3 billion, of which India had 0.5 billion share. And then in 2021, world population has risen to 7.8 billion, and India has 1.4 billion population. And if you see the India's share in the total world population, then in 1964, India's share in the total world population was somewhere around 14.5 percentage. And in 2020, or you can say in the recent year, in 2022, the share of India's population in the world population has risen to 18 percentage. And in fact, in 2022, India will be the largest country in the world in terms of population, or India will be the most populous country in the world, and that is going to remain for almost no, a couple of decades, because of course we know there is some satisfaction that India's population growth is almost now going to stagnate, because now the population growth rate has, or you can say the fertility rate growth has is now fertility rate is now only 2 percentage. So that means if only two parents are dying, father and mother, then only two children are going to born, and so they will be only replacing them. But no, international norm says that the replacement growth rate is 2.1. That means we have fallen below the replacement rate of population growth. So that means very soon India's population will be stagnating, or it will be declining. And so that was the population situation. And then coming to the income, or what was our gross national income in 1950 51, and in the present year, then we see that our total GDP, or we can say that gross national income, which includes the export and import, that was 4,95,254 crore in the year 1950-51. And I should inform you that this is expressed in the year 2011-12 constant prices. Otherwise, you cannot compare. If you just take the nominal value of the India's gross national income in 1950-51, and the gross national income in 2021-22, these are not comparable. That is why if you take the comparable numbers, then it was 4,95,254 crore in the year 1950-51, and now this has risen to 146 lakh 40,445 crore in the year 2021-22. And India is also now aiming to transform its economy into a $5 trillion economy. If you convert it into the exchange rate, and particularly in dollar, India is now eyeing for that. And people are saying, economists are saying that yes, COVID has definitely dampened the process, but then within maybe 5 to 7 years, India can achieve that $5 trillion economy. And very recently, a couple of days ago, the Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India, Dr. Michael D. Patra, in a speech, he was telling that if the present growth momentum continues, then by the time when we will be celebrating 100 years of India's independence, India will be the largest economy of the world, and the second will be China. So we'll be very soon, by 2030, we'll be overtaking USA to become the second largest economy, and by 2047 or 48, will become probably the largest economy of the world. So that means history will repeat, and India will become again the largest economy of the world. And then coming to the per capita national income, again, this is in the 2011-12 constant prices. So when you compare this per capita national income in 1950-51, an average Indian had a per capita income of 12,493, and this has increased to 93,973 rupees in 2021-22. So you can say almost eight times actually the per capita income has increased, and this is we should know that per capita income is derived by dividing the gross national income by the total population. So the population growth rate is also considered here. That's why we can say that the per capita income has remarkably increased from 12,493 rupees to 93,973 rupees in 2021-22. Then, if you would like to know what was the budget size of the government of India, then in 1948, in 38, 49, the budget, sorry, here there is a typing error. This is 1948, 49. The budget that Shanmugam Chetty presented was 185 crore rupees. The total expenditure amount was 185 crore in 1948-49. And when Nirmala Sitharaman, the present finance minister, presented the budget for the year 2020-23, this was 39,000, 44, 39 lakh 44,909 crore. So 185 crore to 39 lakh 44,909 crore in 2022-23. So that means the budget size has remarkably increased, and this shows how the responsibility of the government has increased. And you can say that when you see the budget, what are the provisions in 1949 and the present provisions, then we'll find there is a remarkable change. Okay, the government's responsibility has increased, and then, or you can say the government's no presence in our life has increased significantly. And if you look at the food production, we know that India did not produce enough during our independence time, and we had to import the food from foreign countries. And that's how we see that our rice production was 27 million tons, and now this has increased. It was, I'm telling, this is the year 1955-56. Rice production was only 27 million tons, and in 2020-21, the rice production has gone up to 122 million tons. And similarly, if you look at the wheat production, we produced only 9 million tons in 1955-56, and then that has gone up to 110 million tons. And similarly, if you take all cereals into consideration, then we produced only 54 million tons of cereals in 2000 in 1955-56, and now that has gone up to 283 million tons. And if you look at the all food production, then we produced only 65 million tons in 1955-56, and in the year 2020-21 we have produced 300 million tons. So in fact, during the COVID-19, particularly during the war between Russia and Ukraine, India became the major major exporter of food to the foreign countries. And in fact, the data also shows the second no, highest exporter and third highest exporter, no, whatever amount they exported, if you combine together, then India's export was equivalent to that. So that means India has now become a major food producer in the world. And so there is it's a great journey for India when you look at the food production. When we used to import food from other countries to fill our stomach of our country people, but now, because of the green revolution and advancement in the science, particularly in agricultural science research, our food production has remarkably increased, manifold. You can say 5 times all food production. If you see, then from 65 million tons to 309 million tons, and so also if you look at rice and wheat, then almost 9 times or 10 times, the production has increased. So, and that is also being distributed properly through PDA system. And we have Right to Food Security Act, and every Indian is now getting no free rice, or we can say rice with 1 rupee or 2 rupees. So India has been able to no, ensure food for all, or ensure food security for all Indians through remarkable rise in the food production. Then if you look at the electricity supply, now electricity has become an indicator of the development. And we had only 6.6 kilowatt hours billion kilowatt hours 6.6 billion kilowatt hours of electricity supply in the year 1950-51, and now that has gone up to 1,573 billion kilowatt hours. So there is again, now you can say multiple hundred times, rise in the electricity supply in the country. So that is now transforming the quality of life in our country. Now, coming to the poverty headcount ratio, there are poverty is something which is a very controversial, statistics in the country, and we see that whatever data is available, the data that is available for the year 1956-57, that is given by Minhas, and according to him, 65 percentage of India's population lived below the poverty line, and that was declining by 1961-62 to 44 percentage. But again, the poverty increased in 67-68 to 70 percentage, and after that, the poverty has reduced substantially. Now it has gone down to 22 percentage in the year 2011-12. But after 11-12, we do not have the poverty estimates. Recently, we have come up with multidimensional poverty index. Similarly, if you look at the international poverty norms, then the numbers are a little higher. So, but whatever official data is available, we can say that poverty has declined substantially, from independence time to the present. However, the reduction in the poverty now is not uniform across all sections of the society and across all regions. So, if you look at the poverty incidence among the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, then it still remains the highest. Even in 2011-12, the poverty rate was 43 percentage among the scheduled tribes, and 29.4 percentage among the scheduled tribes, whereas the average Indian had only 22 percentage. 22% of the average Indians lived below poverty line. So we can say that the incidence of poverty was the highest among the scheduled tribes, and now also it remains highest among the scheduled tribe community. And the reduction also, if you see, probably is not satisfactory among the scheduled tribes and the scheduled caste. So that is a matter of serious concern for all of us. And if you look at the quality of life, that you can measure through life expectancy at birth. In fact, that shows our food availability, our improvement in the healthcare and nutrition and so on. So if you see the life expectancy at birth, then for the male in 1951 52, it was only 37 years. So on an average, every male had an expectation to live only 37 years, and now that has increased to 68 years. So you can say almost double. The life expectancy has doubled. And similarly for the females, it used to be only 36 years. So females now were expected to live less years compared to the male counterpart, and but now the females are living longer, that is 71 years in 2013 and 18. So that's the period for which we have the estimate. So that means the life expectancy has almost doubled for both male and females, and that shows how the quality of life has increased in our country. Now coming to the literacy rates, now on an average, okay, in 1951, as per the census data, only 18.33 percentage of the people could read or write. That means they are only literate. Only 18.33% out of 100 people, only 18.33 people were able to read and write. But and for the female, it was only 8.86, and for the male, it used to be 27.16. That was the situation in 1951, 52, 50, or you can say 51. And in the year 2011, no census data, if you see, then the total literacy rate has gone up to 74 percentage. So you can say that the literacy rate has increased by 4 times, and for the female it has increased from 8.86 in 1951 to 65.46 percentage. For the male, 27.16 to 82.14 percentage. So there is a remarkable rise in the literacy rates for both male and female, and for the average Indians. Now coming to the gross enrollment ratio, now if you take the gross enrollment ratio in the primary school, only 42.6 percentage people of India used to go to primary schools. They took admission in the primary schools. It is up to class 5, you can say. Out of 100 people, only 42.6 people could go to school for taking admission. And now that has become almost 100 percentage. In fact, gross enrollment ratio shows it is a little higher than 100 percentage. And in upper primary, only 12.7 percentage people or took admission in the upper primary schools in 1950-51, and now that has gone up to 91.2 percentage. So the achievement of education has increased substantially. However, we have a long way to go in the gross enrollment ratio in the higher education or the tertiary education, and even there are also concerns on the quality of education. And then coming to the infant mortality rate, then in 1950, the infant mortality rate used to be 190. That means if no 1000 children were born, then 190 no children, infants, used to die. And now that has declined substantially to 28. However, this is much higher comparable compared to the international standards. So there is, again, we need to work in this line, but then you can say that there is a remarkable improvement in this indicator, and infant mortality rates have gone down drastically. So to summarize, no, I don't claim that we have covered all the indicators. People can talk, look at many indicators and compare India's situation. What was the situation in 1945 or 47, and now in 2022, when we are celebrating 75 years of independence, how has India improved? People can also paint a very grim picture, and there are also concerns. It's not that it's all about rosy pictures. So India has definitely progressed quite a lot, and people have, in fact, if you see the perception of the foreigners in 1947, then many people suspected whether India as a democracy will sustain at all. But we have completed 75 years of India's independence successfully, and when the power has been transferred from one political party to the other, this has happened without any bloodshed. unlike many other countries, including the advanced economies where there have been civil wars. But India, probably after independence, we did not probably have any civil war in our country. So that way, no, we have been a law-abiding country, and more or less, we have respected our rules and regulations. If you compare our neighboring countries, then probably in Bangladesh and Pakistan, then probably we are much better in the law and order, and when we respect our institution, and we have tried to strengthen our democracy. And however, no, we should accept that there are regional differences. It's not that whatever numbers we showed that it has happened throughout the country, or even for that reason, all sections of the society. There are differences. There are differences among different castes, different religion, there are and sex. So there are differences, and we have to definitely work quite a lot to how to actually uplift all sections of the society. Right? What Gandhi used to tell, that if you want to see what progress you have done, then you should look at the poorest person of the country, and if you try to do that, probably there is a great divide between the rich and the poor in our country. So and there are regional differences. So we have to really work hard to bridge these gaps. Okay, and similarly, what we can say is that coming to the political democracy, now probably we have achieved to some extent the political democracy, but then social democracy and economic democracy we have not been able to achieve. And so when we are celebrating 75 years of India's independence, and we are eyeing to become a global major power, a major global power, we have to work on all these fronts so that India becomes a vibrant democratic country, both politically, economically, and socially. And then we also have the freedom, and but yes, we should also acknowledge that when we are celebrating the freedom, we should also be aware of our fundamental duties. So, what we can say when we are celebrating India's 75th years of India's independence, or Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, there are a number of reasons to celebrate this occasion, but as a responsible democratic country, we should also be aware of our responsibility and the shortcomings, and we need to work on those fronts so that when we will be celebrating 100 years of India's independence, we will be a much better democratic country. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel, and you can like, comment, and share the video. Thank you very much.